Hi, everyone. Welcome again to another Comics Experience Publishing live stream. I'm with Perry Crowe, one of the co-creators for Stud and the BloodBlade #1, which just debuted in comic shops this past Wednesday. I'm Bon Almagno, the publishing director. Um, just wanted to, Perry's been on the live stream a couple times already. Always love having you, Perry. You're such a great creator and personality, and just picking your brain about what this entire process has been like for you is always like a treat. But yeah, so I guess I've asked you versions of this question a couple times this week, but you are now a published comic book creator in a comic book store. You're in Comixology. Folks can buy stuff, buy the book off of Gumroad, off of cxpublishing.com, at the web store link below. I guess what does it feel like that now this is like I've been telling Andy that like now this feels real.
Oh, I think that's a great way to describe it. Yeah, it feels very real, and you know it's coming, or you hope it's coming when you have written the book and have seen the art and done all the production, and you know it's at the printer, and then you know it's coming from the printer. But then we ran into the global shipping issues that so many people have run into, and you just sort of lose the thread a little bit, going, when are the books going to get in? And but they finally got in, and feels so good for it to be out there in bookstores, in comic book stores, and knowing that people can just walk into a store and get it, or order it, through any of those outlets you mentioned. And it feels like joining the game, or however you want to put it, of just I've been reading comics for decades and love them so much, and have a huge collection right over here. And just to have a comic, just entering the, there's no, I don't know, real central library of comics, I suppose, but just knowing that it's out there in stores, and in the back issue bins 10 years from now or something like that. It's just like I've spent so much time in comic book stores. It's a thrill. I mean, I been a writer in other forms for a long time, and I remember when I was first getting published in a newspaper in LA City Beat, Alternative Weekly, that is sadly no longer with us. But just being standing out on the street, and they got the little newspaper box, and being able to just open the box, take out a paper, and find my name and my writing in it is so exciting. And it's kind of a similar vibe here with being able to go into a comic book store and find my work. And it's just phenomenal. And you guys have been great the whole way, and we've had to kind of dance around some things, just with the shipping and figuring all that out. But that's business realities. I deal with that at my day job as well. But we just kept pushing it, and it feels like not really. It's like crossing the finish line and then starting a new race to sell the book now that it's out there. But yeah, it's really exciting and thrilling, and I'm just so pleased with how the book came out, and all the creative team, all their work is great, and feels good just to have such a good product out there. And people have been responding really well. We had a signing at Comic Bug up in Manhattan Beach on New Comic Book Day on Wednesday, and really met a whole bunch of new readers, and they were great. And people just really open to new comics. And yep, there's the
There's
outside.
Stud.
There's Stud himself. I have a really amazing wife who is up for anything basically, and she made her own Stud costume. And there's me and Jed, the co-creator, the artist, setting up in our with our table there, all our goods to offer. And that was super fun. And yeah, even it just sounds very fanboy, I suppose, but just to be in there and having your creation alongside all the stuff, all Batman and X-Men and whoever and all those guys, just like it's exciting. You kind of take your book and you put it next to theirs, and it's like, oh, this all, it's part of the continuum now. And so super exciting. And the guys at Comic Bug were awesome and super welcoming. And we have another signing at their Culver City store on Saturday from noon to 3. So come on down if you're in LA area. Stud will be there again, and get some photo ops with that live action BloodBlade there, and Gary will be there as well. So we just we like to have fun, and it's fun. Just the whole thing is super fun, and we're having a great time.
Yeah, and I think the other day we were talking on Instagram Live, and Stud was came over and was showing her his sword. And like immediately I started thinking, you know what, we should have done like a die cut cover or something with that little red window.
Right.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Like everything you've put into this, into the character, the sword, just fantastic. I love it.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, that's the thing is that's what I love about. I mean, I love comics, of course, but this Stud has its sort of 80s action cartoon, adventure cartoon roots with He-Man and Silverhawks and Thundercats and all that good stuff, and Transformers, and it's that's kind of the idea with Stud too, is to just give a new world like that, and it comes with just tons of characters in it and crazy scenes, and so having someone in cosplay seemed like a natural next step. And we made the BloodBlade, and we wanted to have the window, and so people can like appear behind the blade like they've been slayed by the blade and their soul is now stuck inside of it. Just really trying to have fun, and in my mind, playing it out like, oh, here's the Ouroboros world at Universal Studios or whatever, and just trying to have fun, and people seem to be having fun with us. So it's been a real blast.
So now that issue 1 is out, issue 2 and issue 3 are going to follow in short order. Issue 2 is scheduled for end of September. Issue 3 is now scheduled for end of October. Again, the gods of shipping willing. But at this point, pretty confident. I think we figured out how to manage this. But first of all the Stud 1 through 3 are all available for pre-order with your local comic shop and at cxpublishing.com/store. So if folks wanted to, they could order all 3 at once right now. So Perry, I'm wondering without obviously giving anything away, like what's coming? Like what is the journey that you're taking your new readers on?
Sure. I mean, it's the nothing short of the rebirth of the universe. I mean, Ouroboros, the planet that Stud is from, Ouroboros is that mythological notion of a snake eating its tail and just infinity. And so Stud is kind of based off this mythology that the sky above Ouroboros, there's a black hole eating a sun. And eventually, a giant cosmic serpent will burst from the black hole and plunge into the sea of Ouroboros and bite its tail. And then that triggers like a new bang, like the big bang, but the next bang. And the universe is eternal and just renewing itself. And so what is happening in Stud is the people in Ouroboros, they're essentially fighting for control of the world at the moment of the next bang. And whoever is in charge sort of sets the tone for the world to come. And so everyone is essentially, battling for control. Stud is fighting on the side of King Crony, who's a time-based character who is the ruler of the, call it, polite society of Ouroboros. And Witchtress is the villain who, she has a crew of monsters who is trying to thwart Stud and destroy King Crony. And she's got some, bad blood with Stud and Crony, and her sister is married to Crony. She's Queen Quark. So it's all sort of tied together. It's a lot of palace intrigue and just, a little bit of sort of Game of Thrones in there as well. But yeah, so just adventure and stud. He's was a jungle boy growing up, and he got recruited into working with King Crony, and Crony gave him the BloodBlade. And so, Stud's gonna learn some hard truths about the blade and the price to pay to use such an epic weapon. And so, but ultimately, we're racing toward just a giant fiery conclusion that will redefine the universe. So no small stakes here, but certainly personal stakes running through. And I think that's an element with Stud as a character. Is he he really just he's the strongest person there is, but he also likes to just enjoy people's company and drink a beer and hang out. But he, as someone who is the strongest man in the world, he's obligated to kind of help, uh, decide the fate of the world. And so he's sort of pulled between different impulses. And yeah, so adventure, existential threats, and existential angst and some philosophy thrown in there, but lots of punching and kicking and slicing and monsters as
What
well.
what's funny is when we were sending the printer proof or reviewing the printer proof for stud number 3, and I got to the end and I just started thinking, you know what, Perry is not exaggerating. And like I will say right now, like literally everything you just said, that is not exaggeration. If anything, I feel like you almost underplay it.
Yeah, I gotta leave
But
a little something for
but
people to discover.
but yeah, I mean, like already each of these issues is like a double-sized issue for $1 more. But like every panel is just like every page of this is just packed with so much stuff. Um, Everything you've just said. So, just really, really proud and happy to be part of bringing this to stores, and to now your future fans. Before we start talking about anything else, we had a couple interesting variants for this. A signature series variant, which is limited to 250, a metal edition variant, which is limited to 50. I don't know if you have like any of them on hand. I do have a signature series. I do have a metal edition on hand.
Cool. Yeah, I have one as well. Yeah, I love them. I love the variants. I think the signature series too is like a super cool design. It's kind of a blacked out version of the original Jed's original cover, and just really stylish. I love how it turned out. And the metal one, we have a copy that we've been showing at the signings, and people love it. And it's so cool. I love it too, and I just stare at myself in the reflection and have fun. But yeah, and we have also cool, awesome variant from Robert Atkins, the great artist, done a lot of GI Joe stuff. So that's a perfect fit for Stud with the action, excuse me, action figure cartoon kind of vibe. So that one's been popular. It's got a big fist coming right at you, which is a very Stud thing to do. But yeah, the metal one and the signature series are super cool as well. And I know issues 2 and 3 have really cool variants as well. So can't wait to get the there you go, signature series. And if you buy it, it'll actually have our signatures on it, which will be really cool. We had Jed and I went up to LA and did sign all the copies. I can't remember when that was, a few weeks ago. And but yeah, just really cool design. And those are exclusively through CEX, I believe, or I think we have a couple partners, Comic Book Shopping Network, and of course at the signings we have a few copies as well. They're already signed. We'll sign them twice if people want that. But yeah, really cool variants, and that's a great thing that CEX has brought. You guys really had cool visions for these variants, and yeah, they're awesome to sell, and they're really grab people's eyes. Or at the signing on Wednesday, people definitely like, ooh, what's this one? And really, yeah, it's really cool design.
Yeah, one of the things we didn't want was just to have, like a blank cover with room to sign. Um, I wasn't personally involved with the design of this, but I think Andy and Ken and Paul, I'm probably leaving out some other folks who might have been involved in it. They were, and just like their vision of it was great. Like they wanted to work backwards from the creator. They wanted to have make sure that your signatures were the stars of the cover. So creating like their own particular spaces for them is pretty interesting. Hoping to do more of these with all of our other creators going forward. All of our creators are uh, uh, Comics Experience members or friends and family, so to speak. And so we want to elevate all of your names and get all of your names and your talent out there. And we think that this is like a perfectly constructed. This particular design is a kind of perfectly constructed stage for that.
And that's because my signature is super sloppy, so having it typed out makes people know it's not a printer error. There's not just a weird squiggle.
Yeah, exactly. So as folks can see from the crawl at the bottom, this is available directly from us at the cxpublishing.com web store, or you could use a short link, bit.ly/stud-1-sig, and get one of Perry and Jed's squiggles. But yeah, and we've got a metal edition as well. Actually, let me run real quick. I'm going to grab it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just keep everyone entertained. Tell you. Oh, that was quick. Never mind. Thought you'd be gone longer, but oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it was like So this. So what's fascinating about this is when I got this, I was like, this thing is like heavier than the BloodBlade.
And it probably draw as much blood too if you catch a corner.
Seriously, I was just like when Andy was telling me that we were making a metal cover, I'm like, yeah, I remember what those chromium covers were like back in the day. No, this thing is like, it's like I'm holding a sword in my hand. Or anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. I love it. But yeah, just the silver really comes through, and of course, it's such a natural fit because of the whole blade theme of the comic. So yeah, it looks super cool.
Yeah, we did what we could, like knocking out some of the colors and color holds to get that metal to shine through, and trying to figure out like which of the pieces. I think with Jed as well, like trying to figure out like what were the best colors to preserve, and what would the best colors be to knock out so that it really shows through the metal and really makes the sword, and not just the sword but also like the planets sing. Right. Yeah, so this was great. This was a surprise to see how well it came out. If folks want to order it, they can also order it again directly from the cxpublishing.com web store at bit.ly stud-1-metal, and limited to 50. And this is definitely not one of those things where like, we say that's limited to 50 and there's actually like 1,000. There really are. It really is limited to 50. I don't even think like Andy has one. I specifically requested one so I could first of all like hold it up during the live streams like this, like if you weren't available. But also I wanted to, like, this came out before we printed this in the States, and it came out before the actual regular edition. So this is actually the first CX publishing comic ever.
Oh, going big for the first one. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. My wife ordered a copy, so yeah, we got that a little early too, and yeah, it just is really cool, and it was exciting. Like you said, it came out earlier, so that was the first time I really read the comic as 2 issues, like as I think we've talked about before. Each of the first 2 issues are double issues. We originally kind of conceived of it as 5 issues with the 5th issue is a giant size spectacular, but then we decided to publish the first 2 issues as a double size, and then the 3rd and 4th issue as a double size. So now we're 3 issues, but I had not read the comic as a double issue before getting the metal variant, and it just reads great. And I think we talked about this previously too, of just like it's just so much. You don't want to just call it value because it sounds so commercial, but just so much adventure and action and comedy crammed into a single issue, and it's $1 more than a regular comic, but it has twice the content. And even a single issue of Stud feels like it probably has twice the content
Mhm.
of some comics. But yeah, it's real. I think it reads super well to have both issues. And we had done a Kickstarter of the original first issue, and so it's cool to have now that so having the main or the trade version come out as a double issue kind of makes that Kickstarter extra special too, as it's
Mhm.
like the only version that's a single um, issue. So yeah, it's cool. It's a cool just
Mhm.
collection of different versions of Stud, and brings me back to '90s vibe of all these different versions. We should have done a little trading card
Yeah.
version and holograms and try like
Well,
gatefold covers or whatever.
Well, you know what? We're open to everything, so it's not too late.
Okay.
And also, before you and I start chatting, before you and I started the live stream, we were chatting about some potential other new distributors we might be working with. So, any ideas that you and Jed and the team have for trading cards, whatever, like totally open to it. We're
Awesome.
we're trying to do like whether physical or digital, trying to explore as many channels as possible to get your ideas out there. And yeah, I mean, like already, like I want your wife's costume, or I want Stud's costume, I should say.
Right.
Let me correct myself. So you were telling me the other day, I forgot where, like I think on our Twitter Spaces chat, that you've had people who picked up the digital edition on Comixology and immediately started pinging you with questions, and I was like, now you're in
I know.
it. Now, so it begins. And it's like,
Yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, that's exactly what I'm looking for as a creator, of just trying to of making a world that people want to spend time in and learn more about. I'm just trying to find the the guy's questions just to give you some examples. But yeah, he was like, he asked me, how old is Witchtress and how does the
mm,
Bloodblade's curse work? But then also like,
mhm.
is does Egal lay eggs? Which was, let's get into it. Let's figure it out. Does Egal lay eggs? I honestly had not thought of it before, but sure, I think she does, and she's can call on those eggs to help her out in times of need. And but yeah, it's just it's fun, and it's just pushing me into thinking more. I mean, we I think Jed and I both really enjoyed making this comic, and we're really into and open to making more and prequels and sequels and spin-offs and tell the story of Roach Coach and Lava Boom has really stepped up as the or stand stood out as a fan favorite. And
Mm.
Jed did a phenomenal work with her design, and she's a fun character on the page in the script, and then to see how Jed designed her was awesome, and then to have those two pieces together, people really seem to be responding to that. And so yeah, it's fun to see the stuff that is standing out and getting people's attention. And yeah, and this guy on Twitter, Free State of Mind. I mean, that's an interesting thing with Twitter. Like, I'm meeting these people, and it's sort of like I don't know what your real name is, but it's fun to interact with you. And he was asking, like, what's the largest beast that Stud has ever battled, and that is just like that mindset is exactly what I'm looking for, trying to reach with people, of just like doing the kind of fantasy team ups of like he wants to see Stud and Lava Boom get together, and and just all these ideas of like, yeah, that would be fun. We can do so much stuff, and just the idea that, I mean, like I've talked about, Stud is based largely on at me growing up playing with action figures, and I came to comics essentially through action figures, originally with the Masters of the Universe and the mini comics that came with the figures, and then the Secret Wars figures from Marvel a few years after the Masters of the Universe stuff. And to me, like, that's what Stud is this world that you can play with and just spend time in. And you like, the characters are really for anyone to pick up and have fun with. And I loved Tom Scioli's GI Joe versus Transformers. I thought that was an amazing sort of recreation of that
Hmm.
playing with figures vibe, and just outrageous action, and just characters just getting destroyed and killed and whatever. But and that's how you played with figures. It was, at least that's how I did it. It was sort of like always a battle royale and last man standing sort of thing, so everybody got killed every time you played with with figures. And Stud follows a sort of similar logic. And but yeah, it's so fun. Just I mean, so far it's mostly been this one guy on Twitter who's just really responded and just wanted to know more. And but yeah, I think hopefully more and more people will start spending time in Ouroboros and just think of fun ways that the characters can interact.
Oh no, it's gonna happen. I mean, now you're in it. Now the door has been opened, and so now, I mean, that's what I love about comics, where a lot of it feels like the moment it hits the shelves or hits, the web stores, now it becomes you're sharing ownership with the fans now, with your
Hmm.
readers, and now they're bringing a lot of themselves into it, and trying to figure out, okay, what's next? What would I do with these characters? And actually, I need to know the answer to that as well. Like, what is the largest? Or do you not have an answer?
No, I have an answer. Yeah.
Oh, what's
Well,
the
the
answer?
largest is it's Witchtress's uncle, Eight Eyes. He's actually in the, I think, the fourth issue. You see
Mm-hmm.
him a little bit. There's some blood scenes inside the BloodBlade.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll have to make a encyclopedia of Stud and let people know these backstories. And but
Yeah.
I agree with you though, totally. Like, I think that's a fascinating thing about comics, is that sort of even level playing field between fans and creators. And so many creators came out of being fans. And in specifically like superheroes, Marvel and DC, these characters have been around for so long, and so many different people have created them or spent time on the creative teams, that there's been different takes. And so, I mean, in a way, there's not a definitive version of a
Mm-hmm.
character. I mean, there's the most popular maybe, or whatever, Daredevil, Frank Miller and Mazzucchelli Daredevil, or there's so many great Daredevil creative teams. But anyways, yeah, I think as a fan, you read the books and you do create your own stories. And so yeah, I also encourage people to make stories out of the Stud characters too. I mean, they're all sort of they're intended to be built as sort of bigger than life, outrageous characters, but kind of with core identities underneath it all, and humanity, and or whatever. They're not humans, as we've talked about before. But yeah, just they're essentially toys to be played with, and I
Mm-hmm.
welcome everyone to grab a couple and smash them together.
Before we break, do you want to plug your signing on Saturday? And
Yes.
what are you and Jed going to be up to at Powercon in September?
Sure.
Love to know that too.
Great. Yeah. So yeah, we do have another signing on Saturday from 12 to 3 at Comic Bugs Culver City location, a little deeper into LA. So yeah, Jed and I and Stud will be there 12 to 3 signing, and happy to talk about the comic and do whatever. Looking forward to seeing everybody. And then, yeah, we have a table at PowerCon in Anaheim from, I think it's September 11th and 12th. And just going to, you know, hopefully share. We were at PowerCon in 2019 when Stud was in Kickstarter stage, and got a really nice welcome from people there. You know, it's an interesting, you know, sort of dichotomy between He-Man and Stud. I mean, Stud is for sure like not the same as He-Man, and it's kind of inspired by it, but it's also very much its own thing, and you would never be confused into thinking you were reading a He-Man story when you're reading Stud, but it does sort of capture that same vibe of sort of barbarians with laser cannons, and you know, that's what really caught me, I think, about Masters of the Universe back in the day, is just, you know, the just mashup of ideas. And you know, it's a castle that has a computer in it, and it's a, you know, a horse, a robot horse, or all these just crazy ideas. And that's, you know, kind of that idea with Stud of, it's at this bend in space time where the far future becomes the primordial past. So you have, you know, I mean, those are, it's, I guess it's sort of the core sci-fi fantasy idea of like, not of actually having both of those ideas holding the same space.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just pulp. It's pure pulp, I think, is what Stud is. It's big emotions and big action, and big weapons and big everything, and big monsters, giant monsters as well. But yeah, so at PowerCon, we'll you know, just have a table, and we'll be having Stud issues available, and then yeah, we'll be signing, and we have some awesome prints. And actually, at the Culver City signing on Saturday, Jed just finished up a print of this of Stud and Flora Borealis, our
Mm.
Queen of the Green
Mm-hmm.
jungle sort of swamp thing, kind of woman, whatever you, however you want to describe it, which Jed just did such a phenomenal job with. The issue one alone has just some
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous Flora Borealis pages, and so Jed did a special print for the signing,
Oh
and
wow.
so that we didn't have that on Wednesday, so this will be a special exclusive for Culver City. But yeah, if you're in the LA area, we'll be there. Comic Bug, Culver City from 12 to 3. So please come on down. And then, yeah, PowerCon from September 11th and 12th, you know, all day, whatever. So, yeah, and that's in Anaheim. We're very Southern California based right now. But
Yeah.
hopefully, you know, I mean, I don't know, hardly even want to mention it, but hopefully things improve in the world and we can travel more freely. I mean, we'd love to go around and see some of these retailers that have been so awesome and friendly to us. New Dimensions up in Pittsburgh, and they have a bunch of stores just up in the whole Ohio Valley area. They've been super supportive and enthusiastic, and super appreciative of their support. And you know, Aquilonia Comics up in Troy, New York, has been really warm and welcoming. And I mean, I don't want to list them all, but I gotta say, Kamikaze in Claremont Mesa
Mm-hmm.
is they're super awesome, and they've been friendly. And of course, Comic Bug, but I won't try to name any more because I'll not name them all, and I don't want to leave anybody out. But I mean, it's exciting, and that's, you know, early on promoting Stud, calling retailers to get them to pre-order the comic. You know, I really met over the phone, met a lot of really cool retailers, and I think that's just such an important part of being a creator, is building those relationships. I mean, you need a retailer to sell your book. You can make your book, but the retailers are the ones really getting it into people's hands. And it's fun just to talk to people who love comics. And so it's been great, and we're really excited to do the signing on Saturday. The signing on Wednesday was really fun, so I'm sure Saturday is going to be just as fun, if not more fun. I don't know how to gauge the fun levels, but But yeah, so just really really thrilled and so glad to be at this point where the book's actually out there and people are reading it. And it's been a journey, but we've got to this point, and it feels really awesome.
Yeah, and let me add too, for any retailers who might be listening, thank you so much. Your support, not just of Stud, but Comics Experience Publishing, Creator-owned comics. I mean, we're brand new. This is our first book. This is Perry's first book on the stands, and the numbers were great. I mean, honestly, like if the, so it's I'm really really proud and happy about the relationships that we've been building with retailers, and just for all the retailers out there, thank you so much for putting your faith in us. And hopefully this comic isn't too crazy for your readers. My local comic shop, Brave New Worlds, the folks are managing there. I think I told you about this the other day, Perry, that Brian, one of the managers over there, was just telling me that like he read it as soon as it came to the store, and he started recommending it to people he knew would dig it. And he was like, "Yeah, this was kind of crazy," and I'm like, "Yes," but all in the best way.
Sure. I mean, that's what I like to read. I guess I kind of wrote it for my taste, which who knows if it's everyone's taste, but I just love comics that are crazy. I mean, I feel like it's inspired by I love Mike Allred and the early Mad Men sort of stuff, and that stuff's pretty crazy. Maybe it's crazy in a somewhat different way, but I mean, Mad Men is pretty violent. I think he eats somebody's eyeball in the very first handful of pages, and it's almost like that David Lynch kind of vibe where there's I mean, for Stud too, of just there's sort of a sweet innocence to it on some levels, but then there's just like sort of nightmarish vibes, or just extreme action, and just having both of those things holding space in the same comic. I mean, that's just like that's the kind of entertainment, comics or movies or TV or whatever, that's the stuff I really respond to. And I feel like it's in a way it's what the world is, not to go too down a philosophical rabbit hole, but I just try to give people just a wild ride. And I think there's too many comics that are just like a lot of sort of perfunctory action and a lot of talking heads, and a lot of stuff that maybe tries to read like a storyboard for a TV show or a movie. And Stud is just trying to be a comic and just push it so hard, push it to the limit, and maybe go over the limit a few times. And but if you like wild comics, if you like I mean, I feel like it's Mike Allred's Madman and Atomics, and it's mixed with like Alan Moore Swamp Thing. I mean, these guys are great. I'm not saying it's quite the same realm, but it's just that's the stuff that I really loved, and just really weird stuff and all-time comics. More recently, like that stuff is just kind of crazy, and it's I think there's so much sort of heroic superhero kind of stuff out there that I just wanted to put a real twist onto that kind of stuff. And and it's not always as simple as a giant Boy Scout saving the day, and there's moral complexity to the world. And there's a lot going on in Stud, and it's sort of it might look like just a big beefy punch you in the face sort of thing, and it is that, but it is also sort of a ton of other stuff that hopefully just keeps readers interested and going, what the F, but in a good way of just like, this is a wild ride, and I gotta keep turning the pages and keep getting the issues and just see where it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a lot of what WTF in the best possible way. Now that I think about it, maybe our short link for this should have been Stud WTF. But Perry, thank you, thank Jed, Mark, Forrest, Anthony, everyone who's been involved in this book. And yeah, I'm hoping to keep talking to you folks, as additional issues come out, and also just to shoot the shit with as some of our other creators are publishing stuff. Always love talking to you. And so for folks viewing at home, once again, you can order Stud #1 right now and pre-order Stud 2 and 3 directly off of our web store at cxpublishing.com/store. And you could also go to any comic book shop. If you actually go, if your comic book shop has Comic Hub, you can search for Stud or BloodBlade and find there and prepay right through Comic Hub as well. So no shortage of ways to get a hold of Stud W2F. Well, thank you again, Perry, for your time and your creativity and your energy. As always, it's been great. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Bon. Great talking to you.